Wodify in March was absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
what a cool podcast.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you look
How you guys
good.
doing?
Are you training hard? You
I'm
look good.
training very hard, yeah, on the
Yeah,
bike.
look at that jawline. Look at you.
Yeah.
I'm definitely leaner than I've been in a very long time.
A
Yeah, thank you.
magazine cover shoot or something. You doing Men's Health or something?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. But did you guys see Men's Health this week?
No.
Very interesting article about like the best fitness group classes to take. So I think we should probably talk about that because yeah.
Is it misleading? Is it bad?
No, it's just their approach is different. It's like, you know, here's 20 different group classes you should take, and every single one of them is a derivative of CrossFit. But CrossFit doesn't get mentioned. And then at the end,
of course,
they're like, well, how do you build kind of like this broad inclusive fitness with these programs? And it's like, well, you go to metabolic twice a week, and then you go to stretch lab once a week, and then you go to row house or whatever once a week. And it's like, oh my God.
Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year again. The largest by far. There's no second place. This is the 5th edition of the State of the Industry report. The 6th edition is in the works now, and you are encouraged and would be very thankful if you could participate. The link will be in the show notes to the survey. The survey is for CrossFit gym owners, boutique gym owners, garage gym owners, anyone who fancies himself as someone who is spreading the gospel of health and fitness and nutrition and movement, and is in the market of sharing that in exchange for greenbacks or whatever you call them in Canada or Europe. Please, and we'll get into this more. This is an incredible free. Chris Cooper on his own dime and Two Brain Business on their own dime collect all of this data with your generous help, and then they publish it, and it's all for free. This was originally started back. Chris proposed to do this for CrossFit back in 2011 and 12. CrossFit wasn't interested in it, and so Chris is like, fine, I'll do it myself. And today, now it's probably one of the greatest gifts given to the business community in fitness, of which also Chris, there's so many incredible things to say about you. Chris is also the #1 selling author of Gym Business Books. Just an incredible asset to the community, everyone who knows him, every podcast he goes on. You know, one of the incredible things about Chris is that he is extremely humble. He's always learning and sharing. And one of the strongest data points of that, in the first 6 years that Two Brain was around, they created 26 millionaires with their mentorship program. And like true to Chris's form and his preaching, then they took all of that information from the people that they were turning into millionaires and successful. And the 6 months after those first 6 years, they made another 26 millionaires. So they started learning on top of learning. Let me ask you just a really juicy, fun question right off.
What do we call the Canadian dollar? Yeah, we call it 50 cents.
Is the information so granular now that you could be like, okay, here's our program and these are the rules to find, and you have using such things as like even free offerings like the goldenhourchallenge.com.
Yeah.
Can you take, by the way, everyone should check out that website, goldenhourchallenge.com. Is there a ideal, like, hey, you need $30,000, you need a city without a boutique gym within 6 miles of your location, you need a population of at least 50,000, you need it in a market that's and it talks about maybe that where average homes are $322,000. And if you start a gym here, because I know you were talking about in this podcast, great podcast you did with Wodify, is figuring out the fastest way to get people doing the right practices and habits. But is there even information that will tell you the ideal setting and geography to do this if you already have the other things, by the way, the intangibles, the passion, the knowledge, all of that?
Yeah, we could tell you the average. I mean, I don't think there is an ideal. I think that the strategy that you employ is going to be different. So if you're in Santa Cruz, the strategy that you choose to grow a gym is going to be different than Sault Ste. Marie, where I live.
Okay.
And honestly, that's where mentorship comes in. So for example, like if you're opening up in a small town with 400 people, you have a massive advantage at retention because everybody knows everybody else. You have a massive disadvantage on pricing because the average home, is going to determine like what your rates are going to be. So you have to like get it right, and you have to keep people around, and you have to worry about competition. But if you're in downtown Manhattan, like you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and everybody is kind of like in between. And so like your business has to be built around what you have for opportunities and threats. And that means like you have to go through this kind of one-on-one with somebody that can look at like your profit and loss statement and say, here's what you can afford to spend. Here's how many clients you need. Here's what you got to charge to be successful.
And just to point out how dynamic that is, that model you put in a town of 400, if a coach sleeps with someone's wife, that might be the end of your gym. But in New York City, that might be a plus.
Like, you might have just added a client.
Yeah, you need to know your social environments also. You know what I mean? Just I didn't mean to push back on your theory, but I did. That one just popped in my.
Well, in a small town, I mean, your coaching options might be limited too. And so,
Right.
Today, my 21-year-old coaches at my gym now. You kind of like have to make your own coaching pipeline.
You have a 21-year-old, Chris, now?
She was one, and one of the reasons that I started a gym was because in Canada, when you have a baby, you get a year off from work. And then when it came time, she turned 1 and it was time for her to go to daycare, and I had to take her to daycare. And the first 4 days in a row, I sat in my truck and cried.
Yep.
And my wife and I were like, we can't do it. And so it was like, well, the only way that I'm going to be able to support the family if Robin stays home is I've got to open a gym. I can't just be a trainer at somebody else's gym. And that's what kind of started the whole thing. And now, this summer she was home. She's going to be a vet. She's working at our local like humane society. And this year, she wanted to coach at the gym. So we got her a CrossFit level 1. And today was her last morning coaching before she goes back to school.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Good job, Dad.
Thanks.
Chris, can you tell me about this in your words? Yeah.
Yeah. So the problem that like kills gyms, and it's not my job to inspire people to open a gym, right? Like I think that's the greatest gift that Greg ever really gave was he created 30,000 entrepreneurs. And so people like me who were just a personal trainer, now they had a brand to use. They had a methodology that people understood. They could like hang their shingle, and for $1,000 or 3,000 or whatever it is now, they had like a business that people could recognize. That's massive, and that's a massive gift to entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, it's very easy to start a gym and very hard to keep a gym going. And so over the years, tens of thousands of those same entrepreneurs bailed out, not because they lost their passion, not because the method didn't work. The method worked great, but because they couldn't figure out the business and they ran out of money. And so early on, like when I saw this happening, I said, okay, well, the best thing that I can do to, help these people and further the cause of fitness is actually to stop them from going out of business. I don't have to teach them how to start a business. Well, what puts them out of business? Well, most of the time, like, we're all bootstrapping. We have no money. There's no margin for error. And one bad guess will kill us. And so if we make a bad guess, like the wrong hire, the wrong lease, what equipment do I buy? Like any one of these things could be fatal to our business. How do I stop people from making bad guesses? Well, you collect numbers and data, right? And so what you do is you say, okay, if there's 15,000 gyms here, like how much do they charge? And how much do they pay their coaches? And how many square feet do they actually need? And like, let's not guess anymore. Let's not make it up. Let's not rely on the voices that we hear on Facebook and message boards and stuff, because, those numbers aren't always accurate. And so when I started collecting data, it was actually like 2017, and just publishing it for free, people started using that to make decisions, and hopefully they avoided some decisions that might kill them. But what's actually happened is people have looked at this guide and said, okay, the average price of a CrossFit gym is like $185 a month. Holy crap, I'm way behind that. I kind of feel like I have permission to raise my prices now. And in other cases, it's been like, wow, the best gyms have a group option and a personal training option. Gee, maybe I should do that, and it's saved lots of gyms out there too. Just having those numbers, I don't even have to tell you what to do with those numbers yet for the numbers to help you.
And by the way, this information is easily can be used by any business.
Yeah.
In these types of mistakes. It is no hyperbole when Chris talks about one bad decision can put you out of business. On the right of the screen there, you see Matt Souza. Matt Souza took over a gym and had a lease and didn't know, and there was some fine print in the lease that said, hey, if the property tax in our town goes up, we will pass it on to you. And not only did they pass it on to him, which increased his rent by, $1,500 a month, but they said, we didn't do it last year. You owe us $20,000 from last year.
And it was $2,500 a month. It increased it.
$2,500 a month.
It went from $525 to $3,100 a month increase in CAM.
So you owe us now it's almost $30,000 for last year. And by the way, if you don't pay it in 90 days, we're kicking you the fuck out. That's like real. That's real.
Yeah.
We just started the podcast when that happened. And I remember Matt going, oh shit, you're never going to believe what I got today.
Yeah. And that happens. And of course, people like blame the landlord, that evil landlord. Well, now that I own the building that my gym is in, I see the other side of it. And I'm like, is the landlord supposed to eat that 30 grand? Like, right. I get it. And unfortunately, like what happens is
pay it to the state is what you're saying.
We just don't know.
It's not like he's pocketing the money.
No. And the problem is though, that like we're all first-time entrepreneurs and we're excited. We really want to help people, but nobody's ever taught us that this could happen. And we just don't even think it's possible. And so now that there are more successful gyms and we work with a bigger group of gyms and we work with partners like Kilo and Wodify, and we hear from thousands of gyms every year, we can say like, here's a big problem in the industry. And this is where people like Matt Becker at Gym Lawyers come in and say, hey, I know how to solve that problem for you. And now, Gym Lawyers is like the #1 attorney service in the fitness industry. And it's really because we've created this place where people can come together, share real knowledge and actual numbers instead of bullshit, and build their business on it.
And the lion's share, to use your words, of the data comes from Wodify, which is a massive data bank of gym information.
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, so what they do is they work with thousands and thousands of gyms, and they pull their data from those gyms. They completely anonymize it. So I can't tell like, oh, that's Suze's gym or that's Chris's gym. But we get actual numbers, and, they have a data analyst on staff. We have our own independent data analyst that looks at this stuff just to verify it. And I'll tell you, these guys have like the best metrics in the world. We know exactly how they're defining their metrics. And they sent me a couple little teasers this morning about like how the industry has changed just in the last year. You guys actually might be interested in some of that. Do you want to?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So number one, this is really interesting. So if you look at like CrossFit gyms and, functional fitness gyms.
Sorry, really quick, but before you get to that, the stuff you're talking about now will be in the 6th edition.
Yeah, it will.
And when does that come out?
That's going to be November 10th, I believe.
Okay. And when's the last day for people to participate?
I think they've got about another week. So if you want this guide, like we keep showing it, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
It takes a lot of time and money for us to put this together, but we give it away for free.
Yep.
If you want it, all you got to do is like fill in the survey and earn it. Like you can't buy this stuff. Let me pay for it, but you take 4.5 minutes, you fill out the survey, let us know how you feel. That's also anonymous. And then get you a copy of this as soon as it's published.
Okay, great. So
September 5th.
This is what you're sharing with us is not a complete data set and a complete analysis yet, but we're 1 week before the door closes and it starts going to compilation, tabulation, and print.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So these are just like little teasers of what's happened. So first of all, like if you look across CrossFit and the functional fitness landscape, something really interesting that's happened in the last year is that clients aged 21 and under have increased by like 11%. So what's that all about? And that I think is extremely good news for CrossFit gyms whose population tends to skew younger, It's not the 50-year-olds like me who are joining these gyms more and more. It's these younger clients. And that's also amazing news for the founder, because these are the people who are very fun. They're kind of competitive. They're going to throw down every day. They're not walking in with like the old football injuries, you know? So that's interesting. That also tells me, like kids programs might be more important than ever. And as we work with more gyms that focus on kids, we see like these gyms are way more profitable because, you know, as a parent, would I pay $200 a month for coaching for myself? Maybe. Would I pay that for my kids? In a heartbeat. I wouldn't think about it.
Yep.
On the other end of the spectrum, what's interesting is that the clients over 50 have also increased. So what's happened now is like where you used to have this kind of middle ground of people 25 to 50 coming into your gym, that middle ground has shrunk. And now it's like people under 21 and over 50 who are really joining the coaching gyms. Where are these other people going? Well, they're doing other fitness pursuits, right? Like they're joining the Global Gym. They think I'm just going to figure it out on my own. But the people who value coaching, which is what all of our gyms actually sell, it's not a workout, it's not the programming, it's the coaching, they are skewing more toward younger and older populations. Okay. And this is doubly true in the US, by the way. Like we have an international data set, it's worldwide, but these are even more true in the US right now. It's people over 50 and under 21 that are the biggest opportunity.
It's interesting you say that. When we had Greg on the other day, there's a man, you know, you probably remember Travis Bajent.
Sure.
He worked at CrossFit when you were there.
Yeah.
And his son went through the Division II program in college and is now playing in the NFL and is a potential superstar. Every time he shows up on the field, everyone's like, holy cow. And everyone talks about his work ethic and the shape he comes in. And Greg was like, yeah, it's no surprise to me. You put a kid who's already doing some sports into CrossFit, you will give him that edge that he needs to be a standout. And it's absolutely worked for him.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise there. Hey, do you also think that maybe you think of young people, they have the ability to recover and do that extra work and take advantage of CrossFit. And then you have older people who are over 50 who maybe aren't participating in the Hyroxes and the, you know, powerlifting meets and the Olympic lifting meets. And so they're doing it to just for just strictly like health reasons and to maintain. And sort of that middle group has now taken their fitness and they're exploring other avenues to showcase what their fitness, all that hard work they've put in gyms.
It could be. Yeah. I mean, my motivations within CrossFit have changed dramatically over the last, 17 years or whatever since I found it. But the thing that like my age group hears a lot more from podcasts with, Peter Attia, et cetera, is longevity, health span, lifespan.
Mhm.
And a big factor in that, one of the key components is VO2 max. Well, you can't build your VO2 max by running 10K every day. Like you have to go hard. And what's really interesting is like mainstream media, 25 years after Greg said it, mainstream media is finally like, maybe you should lift heavy weights. Maybe you should try really hard when you're doing a workout. And so finally, for the first time, it's like my generation is faced with that reality from multiple fronts that don't look crazy.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say, Chris, is like you were saying about the data helps you make decisions that are going to guide you towards already things that are working. And just to point out, like for anecdotally, like we have started a youth strength and conditioning, like probably about 2 years ago. But in this last back half of the last year, now coming into 2026, like that program has exploded. And so if you were kind of on the fence, or like, should I put my resources, like money and human energy, towards something like this? Like, and then you get this reaffirming data that it is working. And then I imagine you guys probably already have some resources up with best practices of how to do that and different things like that, which is all for free. Those type of tools are invaluable in gyms that are kind of like struggling or not sure. Like, this is what that is for. So when you guys hear these data points and you could get those resources, you know that you're being guided towards something that could quickly turn around your revenue, which it did for us like significantly. So I just wanted to clarify on that point as well too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure which page it's on, but there's a comparison of like where gyms make their revenue from. So every gym owner that I know wants to start a kids program. They want to start a nutrition program. They want to start an over 50 program. They want to start 10 other things. And they know that they can do all these things, but they can't do them all right now. And so if they're choosing like, which should I start with? There's a great chart in the State of the Industry Guide that shows them like, well, gyms that added a kids program added 8% revenue. Gyms that added a nutrition program added only 3% revenue. Like all it does is it says, do this one first. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so right now, I think probably your attention should be skewed to more toward the older population and the younger population. What really points me toward working with the older population is the influx of AI. So, my Garmin watch will give me a workout program to do today if I want to, right? It'll base that on HRV. It'll base it on sleep. It'll base it on what I ate yesterday. What it won't do is have a human meet me at 10 a.m. at the gym and say, okay, let's do this. And when I was talking to my neighbor, an insurance broker last weekend, I was like, Jeff, with AI here, man, you're screwed. You're out of business. Nobody's buying insurance ever again. And he said, your parents will. And he's right. Like for coaching services, the people who are going to want that one-on-one human interaction more than anybody else are the people who are already 50 and older because they don't trust AI or online coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, I went down a rabbit hole there.
No, I like that you touched on the AI thing because a lot of people get afraid to give away their things for free or different things like that. And now that AI has ushered in, like I was just saying when I did a little audit of the website on the show, of my website on the show yesterday, is that you could now really like compete on value rather than price, because with AI, you could sit down with somebody, put in their, do some sort of in-body scan or get some metrics on them, put that into an AI, put in your local grocery store, and then ask me to find 30 meals that are high in protein that fit this person's profile from that store, and poof, it spits it out. But the thing is like those prompts all still matter. In that one-on-one human touch matters, but you're able to give away all those resources now and really give some value to your clients without having to do a ton of this legwork before. I mean, like we put it in and said, here's our, mainstream restaurants that are in our downtown. Find us the healthiest meals that fit this profile off their menu, and boom, it's spit it out. So now we could say, hey, here's your downtown guide to healthy eating while you're on this, challenge, or while you're starting your new venture. Here's your 30 meals high in protein, for, at your local grocery stores. And so not being afraid of the AI in the sense of like it's taking our job, but really utilizing that to create value and then give that away for free to your clients to really keep them around and then keep them motivated too.
Yeah, that's great value. I can remember visiting Greg Amundsen's gym, 2014, let's say. And a block from his gym, there was this little cafe, and he had two things right on the menu. He had like a placeholder card on the tables, and it was like, if you go to CrossFit Amundsen, you should get the Cactus Club or this other thing.
Wow.
And yeah, and so that's amazing value, right?
Yep.
But what Greg had to do was he had to go to that cafe, befriend the cafe, tell them like, hey, we should do this collaborative thing, and then start sending his people down there. Like you don't have to do that anymore. Like there's a lot of legwork that you can skip. And so the value is still there for the client, whether you do that legwork or whether ChatGPT does it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's still a ton of value in that. If there's a restaurant next to your gym, go on over there and be like, hey, can you make this, 3-block meal? And I'm going to send people over there. After we're done working. Yeah, that's amazing. In the Wodify podcast, Chris Cooper says something like this, and he'll unscramble it if I mess it up. And this goes along with what you're saying with the advent of technology and AI, and what adds on to what Suza's saying. You said something along the lines of, you have to know what you're selling, meaning things are changing. You might not be selling program anymore because the Garmin's beat you. And it's not information, because knowledge now is free. You have to be the agent of change, not the agent of information. Can you talk to me about that? What this agent of change?
Yeah. So what we were talking about when we came on the air was the new Men's Health came out this week, and they were saying like, here's the top 10 fitness group classes in America. Right. And CrossFit was mentioned one time, and the only time the word CrossFit appeared was in this sentence that said, before you go running out and do CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. There was a disclaimer, like it wasn't promotional at all.
Oh, great.
And so what they listed, what they listed though were like metabolic, F45, row house, stretch lab. You can find it in the edition. But all these programs are derivative. Like they're a small piece of what you already sell. If you're a CrossFit gym or a functional training gym, you already sell them, right? All of these businesses are selling constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity on a rower, or constantly varied functional movement performed at high intensity with a kettlebell that has a face painted on it, or like with a lunk alarm or whatever, right? Like they're so niche down. The problem is that we think that we're selling the CrossFit program or our programming against their programming, and we're not. What we're selling them is being the person who tells them what to do. So, and like prescribing the dose, prescribing exactly you should do this on this day. So at the end of the article, it read like an advertisement for ClassPass, because it was like, okay, well, if you want to lose weight, what you should do is you should go to metabolic twice a week, F45 once a week, stretch lab once a week, and blank. So first of all, it doesn't mention diet at all. Second, it's like, okay, now you probably can't afford 5 memberships, so you should get a ClassPass. The reality is that we should all just be doing that for our clients anyway. Hey, Sousa, you want to improve your aerobic capacity? Here's what I recommend. I think you should come Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday next week. And I think that you should probably, get a heart rate monitor. Here's one on the shelf. And what I'd like to have you do on Sunday is do like a 5K, at 120 to 140 beats per minute. Like that's how you coach people. And AI is never going to beat that.
Yep. And you put your money where your mouth is. Not only do you own a CrossFit gym, but you're a member of it, and you have a coach. And although cycling is your sport and CrossFit's not your sport, but you still do 2 times a week at a CrossFit gym with your trainer knowing to give you workouts that balance out or add things to your level of fitness that work in tandem with your passion for biking, which you've been doing the last 4 years.
Yeah. So it changes too, right? It's not just like, I'm just going to show up and do CrossFit because it's Friday. What happens is, because I'm just like kind of wrapping up the cycling season now, when I go in Monday and Friday, I'm there in a small group of 4 people. Each of us are working off our own program. And I do have some like high intensity CrossFit type workouts, but it's rare. It's mostly mobility right now to keep me on the bike. In September, that changes dramatically. So now it becomes, Chris, I want you doing strength training, and I want you doing high intensity interval training. The strength training you can do on your own. The HIIT stuff I will never do on my own. So I'm going to go to like the noon group and do it with them, And like, this is going to be different for every person in my gym, but it's still manageable if you've got 150 members to sit down with them once a quarter, once every 6 months, and say like, here's how your goals are changing. Here's what I want you to do. How does that sound? And it's not like you're changing your programming. What you're doing is just changing your prescription. Chris, you're going to come more often. Chris, you're going to come less often,
The dose.
Your origins go back to you opening your first gym 2005.
Yeah.
And
20 years.
Wild. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And especially for how young you are. And too much ass kissing, Sousa?
No, just the right amount. Just the right amount.
You in 2008, after a really tumultuous start, which included opening a second gym and drowning yourself, you end up getting a mentor. And then in 2008, you realized that you learn best when you are also teaching. And so you decide to regurgitate everything you're learning, the most valuable salient points that you're learning, and you start a blog in 2008, which you do every single day for 4 years. And I thought that was fascinating that you had the awareness to know, hey, if I share all of this, really I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone because I'm learning it.
Yeah, it was kind of like writing love letters to myself back then. And that blog still exists. It was don'tbuyads.com. I killed the blog after 4 years because I started writing on twobrainbusiness.com. And so we still blog every day. It's been, 16 years. And, the one thing that I did know about myself is like, I can't afford to repeat mistakes. And so if I write a letter to future Chris saying like, hey man, like, here's how this got screwed up. Here's what you did wrong. Don't do that again. I would be way more likely to not repeat the same mistakes that were killing me. So what had happened was we had this personal training studio. It was doing okay. I was earning maybe 40 grand a year, not enough to support 3 of us. And we found CrossFit in 2006. We started playing with it in 2007. And then we decided to run a little trial, and we invited about a dozen of our clients to come and do this group program at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night. We could only do it after the women's clothing shop downstairs closed because we knew it was going to be loud. And we did a workout that was like push jerk and Lynn, like bench press and pull-ups. And 30 minutes into it, I turned to Mike, who was coaching with me, and said, like, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, this is so much better than personal training. It was fun as hell. And so we affiliated, we got our L1s, we, opened up a second location, and that just about bankrupted me. I took the advice that I was getting from like CrossFit message boards, and I thought everybody was crushing it and yada, yada. I had to dig myself out of a very, very, very deep hole and almost didn't make it. Like, if I could have found a job selling life insurance at any point there, I would have taken it.
You even looked into getting a job at a call center, right?
Yeah, man, I was reading the want ads and they were advertising these call center jobs for $12 an hour. And like, that sounded like a shitty job, but it also sounded like 9 to 5 weekends off.
I can't say you're young if you're going to drop lines in there. Like I was looking for jobs in the want ads, Chris. There's
want ads. Yeah.
The yellow pages.
Yeah. What was that? 19. Let's get some continuity to the story.
Yeah. So anyway, I found a mentor instead. He helped me turn my gym around and I started publishing it. And what I found was that I was encouraged to write more on the blog because other gyms were like, what? Like paying attention and asking me questions. And so every day since, we've published a blog for free. When CrossFit stopped doing it, which I think was a huge mistake, I offered a job to Mike Workington, who was like in charge of the journal at that time. And he and I have just been publishing this blog every day since.
And when you started the blog, you were nobody in a nobody town, under a shitload of pressure with a wife and a child. And you did it for 4 years every day, which eventually, after 4 years, you'd accumulated enough information to publish it, which became the #1 selling gym business book, of which also, I have to say, you offered, when you were on the CrossFit podcast, you offered a copy of that book for free to every single affiliate in the world. And at the time, I think there were like 13 or 14,000 affiliates.
Yeah, we still give it away for free once a year. All my books, we have a week that actually just passed where we just make them all available for free to gym owners on Amazon.
Wow. That's incredible. And by the way, and I know we've told the story before, but that literally saved my business. Is being able to download those. Like, a Help First was one of the first ones that like taught me actually how to sell without, because everything before was like Grant Cardone, like, you need to do this, let's do this. And everything was like moving to this close, and it was really like used carsman sleazy. And when I read Help First, it just completely like clicked as like, okay, cool, I'm just helping them and I could frame it this way and I don't need to push everything to like this close. And then what was it? Two Brain Business 2.0, I think it was.
Yeah, that was the operational one.
Yes. And then that one helped me like really start to understand how to operate the gym. But also inside there, you give away all your references. And so what I mean by that is, like, as I read those books, I knew your line of thinking because you were like, hey, I got this from this and I took this from this, and this is a really good recommendation here. So then it allowed me to continue that education on as well, which I always make the joke that my due diligence when I bought the gym was just asking for where the pen was. And that got me into some hot water. So like those resources that you gave away for free are incredible. And I asked this to Greg. I didn't really he didn't really land as much on the answer. But when you give that stuff away for free, especially when you were in a struggling point there, and I want Jim's to kind of really think about this, is like, was it just blind faith in the fact of like, all right, if I just educate and I just do this, like it'll eventually come back? Or like, was it just like, what was the thought process there? And did it ever get scary as you're giving all this stuff away for free and, you know, trying to still make ends meet?
It did, but right around the same time I was finding CrossFit, you know, 2005 to 2007, Seth Godin, Chris Anderson, they were writing these blogs called Be Expensive or Be Free. And what they were talking about is like, you cannot protect your information anymore. And now this was before social media. And this was before, you know, OpenAI ate the internet. Like you can't outthink the internet. There's no secrets, you know, and there's nothing that you can keep a secret. And so none of us are selling information. I think the information age is over, but you know, that's a different topic. So the key to good business now is like, give the information away for free and sell the coaching. And so I had heard this from Seth, I had heard this from Chris Anderson. And then I met Greg and I went on CrossFit.com and I'm like, what's he selling? He's giving the whole workout away for free. And like, here's an article on how to do it. And here's videos on like how intense my sprints should be. Like, man, this guy is just giving it all away. And that reinforced the lesson. And then when I started working for CrossFit, the first thing Greg ever said to us, we had this meeting in San Diego of the whole media team, and he gets up on stage and he's like, every company is a media company. And I said, what the hell is he talking about? You know, and that's what it was like, you know, you be expensive or be free. And I started working for CrossFit, and you know, one of the biggest questions that Tyson Oldroyd ever asked me was like, why don't affiliates just copy what HQ does? Give it away for free and sell the coaching. And I was like, it never really occurred to me. And so I kept publishing. You know, before I was publishing business stuff, I was blogging on the Catalyst website since 2003. Before Catalyst even existed, I had a blog about fitness. And it was working. And I was doing what like T-Nation was doing at the time and what Seth Godin was writing about. And so I've always just had a blog. Now it's a podcast on the Catalyst site. And that's like, you know, key to our marketing. So yes, it was self-serving. Like that was my marketing back then. Nobody else had a fitness blog in my city. But also like, as far as gym advice goes, I've never thought that I knew anything. And like, what I do is just repeat what the data says. I don't give advice from my own experience. I don't claim to be a guru. Like, I just share what I learn.
A lot of people in the space, in all sorts of spaces, who are in your position do pretend to be the guru. And I think that's the appealing thing about you, by the way.
Thanks, man.
On top of that morphed into, by the way, one of the things that Greg realized as he gave all this stuff away for free, like, you know, nuanced videos like squat therapy and all of those things, and giving away all the subject matter expert information away for free, is he realized for the brand, the most important thing he could do was be the #1 authority in the space. And so that's what Two Brain also did. They became the #1 authority in the space. And that was more valuable. We've all had those friends who come up to us, right? They call you on the phone one night and it's someone who's been a firefighter for 15 years. He's like, dude, what can we do to start? Let's start a business together. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. I just want to make more money. And you didn't start like that. You started with a very special seed. I love this and I want to do this the rest of my life. That's so important.
Yeah.
But you have to make that leap at some point, right? And we'll talk about hope. That was one of the big themes in the Wodify podcast. That can only carry you so far if you don't nurture that seed and have a vision for the future. But being the authority in a space, news channels do it, fitness companies do it. And I remember one time when Greg said, probably around 2016, I want to take the mantle from the CDC, from the Center of Disease Control. And I thought that was batshit crazy. But now today, I'm like, hey, he wanted the journal to be the one-stop shop for everything.
Yeah.
And so that's what you ended up doing after 4 years. You never planned, you started it. You never planned for it to be into a book. You were just doing it with love. And then because of all that hard work and those great habits and those disciplines, doors started opening, opportunities started opening, and you became what he calls the authority in the space.
Yeah, thanks. So after about 4 years of just blogging this stuff, I had no concept of how this would ever even turn into a business for me. It was just, it was honestly, it was opening doors that I could connect with other gym owners. They were emailing me, and I just didn't feel like I was alone on an island anymore. And eventually one emailed and said, there's 13 of us down in Fort Lauderdale. Ben Bergeron's coming down. Forrest Walden's coming down. They're going to try and give us some business advice. Can you make it? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, if you pay for my flight, I'll come down. And all I did was cobble together in a Word document, like maybe the best 15 blog posts, and printed it off and handed it out. And most people didn't even take it when they left. And that became the best selling fitness
for free,
business
Chris.
of all time.
Unless they can eat it. No one wants anything for free.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Luckily, one guy actually picked up a copy on his way out and, lost it in his luggage or something and flew up to Canada and gave me one of the originals a couple of years ago. Yeah. So I do have one of the original 30, but
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it's funny. It was never meant to happen. And when that happened, then somebody called me, this woman in, what was the name of her CrossFit gym? She was in Jersey anyway. And she owned a yoga studio, and she's like, in yoga, you have like a mentor, and how much to be my mentor? And I was like, I don't know, how much do you pay the yoga mentor? And she's like, it's like, $1,200 for 10 phone calls. And I'm like, then that's the price. And so she's like, okay, I'm in. And then, the next day somebody else called and said, how much to be a mentor? And I was like, it's $1,200. And, that's probably what it was worth back then. And as we've grown, of course, like the value has just gone many times over. But what the number one thing that I've learned is that like you can't tie the value of mentorship to a dollar figure, just like you can't tie the value of your health to a dollar figure, that it gains compound over time. And ultimately what you wind up with is something that's like infinitely valuable and priceless.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to Susie yesterday. I forget what time. It was early, it was before noon. And I'm like, and I could tell he'd been, by his voice, he'd been talking on the phone a lot. And I go, hey, what's up with you? He goes, oh, I just was on 4 phone calls. I'm like, how's that going? And he's all, I want to help so many people. Yeah. And I want, and all these people want to jump on calls with me, and they want to run ideas past me. And I don't want to like gouge anyone or fuck anyone, but some people are just like, they're not ready to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, you should just make it $150, not to make money, but to talk to you. And then that basically people will at least come prepared. They're not going to be like, and I was giving the thing, you don't have 15 minutes to someone to tell you the story about they named their gym after their dog that died. That's not, but that's what people are doing, right? They get on with him, and because it's free, they think they can tell that story.
That's right. That does happen quite a bit.
Yeah. I love him, but it's tough.
I can hear the tension in his voice. He's like, dude, I want to do all this stuff. I want to help all these people. But it's like, hey man, you reach a point where it's like I got to grow my own shit too. Like I have to do my, and it wasn't even noon, and he had been on 4 1-hour calls that like were nothing, to him.
Yeah. There has to be investment from both sides if it's going to work. Like we have given scholarships to Two Brain in the past, and those people, just very smart people, hardworking gym owners, they got no results because they did not have any skin in the game. And when I went, my first appointment with my mentor back in like 2009, I said, how much is it? And he was like, it's $500 an hour. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God. And I wrote him the check and called him 20 minutes later and said, don't cash it. It's going to bounce. Like, I don't have $500. And he's like, I'm going to cash it. And if you do what I told you, it'll clear. And that's what forced me to do the thing that I didn't want to do, which was ask my customers for money, and the embarrassment of like having that check not clear was greater than the embarrassment of asking my clients for money. And so I did it, and that changed my business in a day, but it changed me for the rest of my life. And like, best $500 I've ever spent. And so now that's our consideration when we bring people into Two Brain, is like, what what is the right amount to charge, where we can reasonably assume that we will not only get them their money back quickly, but also give them compounding gains for the rest of their life. So,
There's
yeah,
some crazy stat, like 90% of your clientele have results that outweigh the money that they put into Two Brain. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, like 2x in the first year, and then of course, like they don't just stop doing that stuff when they leave Two Brain. It's like they keep doing that, and they just keep earning more forever. So it's literally unmeasurable. Like even if I went back to alumni who were with Two Brain 9 years ago and said like, how much money have you made since? It would be almost impossible to track, because if they just do one of the things that we tell them and they keep doing that for a decade, like that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and I would like to point out too, like outside of the money, the systems thing is massive, because quickly you realize that like even if I get some of my time back, right, that's worth more than money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Sousa, for people like me, what's the systems thing?
So it's like all of a sudden you look at all the different operations of the gym and you start to realize, hey, I could either like hire or delegate this off. And if I write down what exactly I do, it'll be done the way that I want it to.
Mm.
And the big missing link there is a lot of gym owners go, well, I gave it to so-and-so and it just wasn't done right, or it wasn't done the way that I want to. And they don't realize that like, hey, you have to have some sort of way to like document that. And then you walk your coaches through that, or whoever's taking on that task, in a way that's done to how you want it to. And rather than letting that sit in your head and having all these small little tasks that just consume your time, just to the day-to-day stuff, once you really know how to like operationalize it by either writing it down or filming yourself doing it as you do it, and then handing that video or that paper over to the person who you're delegating it to, all of a sudden your whole Sunday's freed up, because now you don't have to clean the gym. And then you could realize too, well, wow, my Sundays are probably worth more than $200. I could just pay somebody $200 to clean it in the way that I want it to, and now I have my whole entire Sunday back. So those type of things that Chris lays out, like not only in the book, but through the mentorships as well, starts to get you your time back, which on top of that allows more free space up here. Now you have more ideas to go into, you know, the marketing or how I could start these new programs. And that's really where, like, to just clarify that compounding effect, that's where that happens. And so those things are also huge. And one thing else I would like to point out is I had the pleasure of being able to meet with quite a few gym owners that Chris and the team had worked with over at Two Brain, as we were helping them kind of film this, how your gym and life has changed. And one of the interesting things is the individual that they picked had actually owned a gym for like close to 14 years before reaching out to a mentor.
Wow.
And yes, and Jay Rhodes over there, great guy. And it was funny because he was saying like almost it was like kind of an ego check, and these are my words, not his, but it was like, man, I've had this gym for so long, and now I feel like I have to like go get somebody to help me figure it out. And he was like, I just wish I had done it sooner, because that type of stuff, when you get kind of stuck in this hamster wheel, it's hard to get yourself out of it. And like Chris is saying, is like when you have somebody there that is essentially going, hey, you need to raise your prices, or you need to do this, and they're affirming that rather than you stuck in your head. And then I go talk to Chris, and he's been with me for 12 years, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to charge him an extra $20. And the funny thing about that is when you have that mentor there that's helping you not only operationalize things, but giving you the confidence to make those decisions. Then when I finally pull the trigger on it, Chris comes to me and he goes, hey man, you're raising your prices. I go, yeah. And he goes, it's about time. Good for you. And you're like, holy shit. Like I just sat there spiraling about, they're going to leave and they're going to hate me. Yes. And so the point being is like, even if you're just getting started, or you haven't had a gym, or you've had it for 14 years, reaching out to Chris Cooper and the guys over at Two Brain Business, guys and gals over at Two Brain Business, it's going to help you no matter where you are on your journey too.
I think one of the best things that we do, and it's the same thing that CrossFit coaches do. And so like, when Matt talks about give the knowledge away for free and sell the coaching, and also like being forced to do hard things, it's the same thing that you do every day in your gym. Nobody comes in saying, or few people come in saying like, I can't wait to swing a kettlebell today, because most people are not like us. And so forcing that person to do it always results in like better gains long-term, even if they don't see it that day. And it's the same in business. One of the best things that a business coach or a CrossFit coach can teach you is like habits. And so you could have somebody come to your gym for 2 years And well, I haven't dropped a pant size since the first 6 months. I quit. But they've also learned how to eat properly. They've also learned to exercise an hour a day. And like you've meaningfully changed their life, even if the exact result that they're like hard focused on is slow to emerge. And, so a guy in Finland, Ate Kastanen, he and I just worked together for 40 days to establish a morning routine of doing one thing every day to grow his business before he did anything else. He did it for, 42 hours straight. Or 42 days straight. We call it the golden hour challenge. And, before you know it, his gym has made these massive strides. I sent him a gold and black barbell straight from Rogue. And like, he's turned his gym around because he's got this habit, and he'll keep that for life. The government can't shut that habit down. They can't tax him on it. He can't lose that habit in a divorce. Like, these things exceed the immediate business. And I think like that's what these CrossFit coaches are doing, if they're doing it well, is giving people these habits that will compound and live on for the rest of their lives, even if that client quits the gym because they don't like how often you program brand.
And this is it right here, what Chris is talking about. So you got the video where I imagine that's going to go ahead and explain working on the an hour a day, working on your business, not in your business. We have the accountability calendar, so that way you could check that off that you're doing the things. And then right here, you already have it each week or each day of the week listed out. So you got Mondays, tasks, Tuesdays, Wednesday, all the way through till Sunday. Then the what's next there. And this is huge because a lot of you guys and myself included, like, it's so easy to get stuck in the day-to-day, and you will relive the same year over and over again. And one of the things as gym owners that even know it's so obvious, but it takes a while to seep in, is everything's just one big cycle. And once you know it, you should have your yearly calendar. You mark everything out ahead of time so you could sit there and get clarity on, like, okay, we know there's a lull in September because the schedules change and things. What are we doing there? We know that we could capture a lot of people towards the end of the year. What do we have in place for that? And so being able to do this and work on your business with a guide, which this is free, by the way. I just went in, dropped my name and email. All this popped up right there. And going through this is invaluable. So if you're a gym owner, and some of the calls that I take are people like, hey, I want to open a gym. What do you suggest? This or that. And I suggest the same thing. Devour all these free resources. Start with a zero cost. Do not sign on a lease like I did. That shit is so stressful. Man, if it wasn't for the good folks over at Columbus Foods with that Hail Mary play that I was able to get that big check in right in time, it would have never worked. So do not put yourself in that position, and arm yourself with as much information as possible. And stuff like that is incredible resources.
That's awesome. So we do talk about like the state of CrossFit in this guide too. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to go down that road or not, but
I'd like to just add something to this really quick.
Yeah.
This is such an easy takeaway. It's goldenhourchallenge.com. It's for free. What is the one thing in common that all the millionaires who've used Two Brain have in common? The size of their gym? No. Number of clients? No. They all do this. Every single one of them is a goldenhourchallenge.com person, meaning they use this. Hey, and not only them, Chris does it. This is Chris. Yeah. He's giving this. He knows this because this is how he made Two Brain so successful. This is easy, and it's free. I shouldn't say it's easy. It's free. And it's your first hour every morning, which everyone can, if you don't have your first hour every morning, get up an hour earlier. And this is what Chris uses for himself. And this is what all the millionaires use too. That was a great tidbit in the Wodify podcast, by the way. I was like, holy shit, there it is.
Yeah.
So that's the continuity piece between them all, guys.
Yep.
Good morning, Taylor. Good to see you. Future gym owner there. Sean, good morning. Nice to see you back, buddy. Good to see you. I like your avatar. I like your little
that's the old school Microsoft Word help thing. Yeah, the paperclip. Throwback.
Okay, sorry. What were you gonna say? Do you remember what you were gonna say, Chris?
Yeah, so like we do this in two parts. So Wodify and Kilo are extremely generous with anonymized data. So we have a quantitative part that we publish, but we also publish a qualitative survey where we say, like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you
Qualitative versus quantitative? Can you, before you go further, could you tell us the difference between that?
Yeah, quantitative is numbers, qualitative is feelings and opinions. That's all.
Okay.
So this survey is really important to us too, because we try to take like the temperature of gym owners and say, like, how are you feeling? And, so for example, we'll ask questions like, how do you feel about the future of CrossFit? How do you feel about like CrossFit HQ? How do you feel about XYZ? And you can kind of track that over time. Like, how confident are you in your gym being around in 5 years? That kind of thing. How do you think you're doing? Stuff like that. And so what we can do is we can compare that against, like, okay, well, are the number of affiliates going up or down, and how are people feeling, and try and predict what's going to happen in the future. And that is really important to me, because, like, the numbers are great for helping you, but the reality is I want to make sure that you still love this, because if you don't love it, or you've run out of hope, or you're running out of energy, or you're running out of money, or you're running out of time, like, that tells me that the future of the industry is not bright. And so, right now, we are seeing a little bit more optimism than we've seen in the last 5-7 years. And it's great. Like, it really stokes me up to see people being optimistic about the future of the fitness industry in general. Is CrossFit going to be able to capitalize on that? I hope so. I have a lot of optimism about, like, they've gone back to their roots a little bit with marketing, which I think is really, really good. I think, like, eventually the core group of affiliates won't shrink any further, and we'll be able to regrow from them, maybe.
My gym worked with Two Brain in 2014 and 15. Chris is the reason why we're still around at 12 years.
Thank you. 2014, 2015, that's pretty OG for us. I mean, we're coming up on 10 years very soon here.
There was I used to always trip on people who had goals. I'm like, man, I don't have any goals. I wonder why things always seem to work out good in my life. And I had Miranda Alcarez on here, who owns street parking, very successful, extremely successful. And I remember, as I was preparing for the podcast, she had a post that said, if you don't have goals, basically it's okay, as long as you have discipline, good habits, and passion. And those three could carry you pretty far. I'm like, wow, I have all of those, including one of my habits is to look at my habits and to audit them regularly. That has to be a habit, to audit your habits, and to be disciplined and passionate, right? So, like, in parenting, if you're disciplined, you get up always before your kids. Never let your kids out. That's like a practical thing. Don't let your kids get up before you. You'll be playing catch up all day.
Yep.
In this podcast you did with Wodify, you talk about the importance of the love, but then you also talk about if the hope dies, you could be screwed. And it's really important for Two Brain people, the mentorship program, to get people before the hope's diminished. There has to still be a sparkle of hope. Can you get into that for me? Because it made me realize that there's a huge psychological piece to this too, a therapeutic piece.
Yeah. And so, okay, I'm going to just preface this by saying that I agree with Miranda, but it's a cycle. Like, nobody starts with good discipline. You build discipline over time, and nobody starts with hope. You build hope. So what happens is, when we start a gym, which is very, very easy, we have a lot of optimism, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so it's like, oh, I can program, I can coach, I love this stuff, I'm going to be successful. And over time, things go wrong, and things show us, like, well, that's not enough. You don't know this. And you start to feel like, damn, I'm not smart enough. Or in my case, it was more like, I'm working really, really hard and things are not getting better. What actually keeps you going through that dip between optimism and enthusiasm and, like, success is hope. And so hope, I don't know if you guys like Brene Brown, but I do. And, she said that hope has two parts. And the first part is, like, a clear vision of where you want to be, and also, like, the willingness to take the steps to get there. So when our clients call the gym, quite often it's 10 p.m. They've just watched season whatever of, Netflix, or they've just watched The Biggest Loser thing on Netflix that's brand new. They don't like themselves very much. They've tried 2 or 3 other gyms or diets or whatever, but they want to change. And in that moment, they have hope. They think like, okay, I could be somebody better. There could be a better future for me. They might not be optimistic yet. That's our job, but they have enough hope to make the call, fill out the form on the website, whatever it is. And for that few minutes, they're willing to actually take the first few steps to fitness. The first few steps to fitness are not push your knees out when you squat. It's not going to Lululemon and buying the right pants. The first step to fitness is filling out the website or typing gyms near me into Google. Okay. And what we have to understand as coaches is like, we have to coach people from there, not from the day that they pay their membership. The first act of coaching is getting people into your gym, coaching them to come in and talk to you. The second act of coaching is coaching them to decide, yes, I'm going to do this. And then to commit financially and then to commit emotionally. But that takes time. And like, there's no such thing as being a disciplined person. Like discipline has to be built brick by brick by brick by brick. And that's why like, the New Year's resolutions don't work. You build discipline, you build momentum, you build motivation. Like you don't join a gym and get fit because you're motivated. You get motivated because you've joined a gym and you're starting to get fit. And over time, these things compound. And what's actually built there is hope. It's a clearer vision of who you could be. It's knowing that I could be better tomorrow, or knowing that like I'm not the best cyclist I could be yet, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was at this time last year. Like that's motivating as hell. Mm-hmm. And as like over time, what you see is like our job is not to be the best programmer. It's not to be the best spot the flaw. It's not to be the best referee in the online open. Our job is to be an agent of hope. And that means to help people understand where they're starting from, help them paint a clear picture of the future, and do whatever the hell it takes to get them to show up at the gym today. Because once they're in there, we got them.
Yeah, very well said.
Interesting is this whole thing started, this whole talk you gave started with you have to do something for someone else for free. And there's this, I went to the fair the other day. I went to the boardwalk in Santa Cruz and I bought something for my kid behind the concession stand. And the girl could give 2 fucks if we were there. No eye contact. Didn't even know what she sold. She sold soft serve Foster Freeze, and we were looking for ice cream. I'm like, do you have ice cream? And she goes, yeah. I go, what flavor? She goes, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. And I go, oh, that's the soft serve. Do you have ice cream? She goes, yeah, I just told you. And then I'm like, okay, like, and not even looking at me, right? Just completely miserable.
On her phone.
There's this, I wrote this down. I don't know if this is an original, but probably not. If you don't work harder than what you make, you won't make more. If you don't work harder than what you are paid for, you'll never make more. Meaning she's never going to get the fucking promotion. You always have to be adding more value than what you're paid for. If you want to get wealthy, if you want to get ahead, you always have, if you're setting tables up at the restaurant before they open, you better do it and be picking up trash underneath the table that you see, wiping down a seat if you see something sticky, smiling at the manager. No one is getting ahead who's not doing shit for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No lazy rich people. Don't believe any of that bullshit. There's no one who's like, hey, my value, because we've all met that person too. They read in a self-help book, always charge your value. Hey, listen, no, don't. I know that's a huge part of Two Brain. You have to raise your prices, but when you raise your prices, then you still have to give more.
That's right. You have to increase your value. Yeah.
Your value always has to be more than what you pay. I'm hearing this right? Because you're saying your job starts even before they write the check. You have to be able to smile at the person, engage with them, show them glimmers of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason that we're telling most CrossFit gyms to raise their rates is because they're over delivering on value so much. They're delivering triple what they're charging.
Okay, so they got the hard part done.
They got the hard part done. Like this is what these other franchises can't figure out. Is like they're saying how much can we charge instead of saying how can we add more value. Where CrossFit gyms and coaching gyms are already offering more than enough value, but they're not charging enough. And so that's why they lose hope, right? You have to have both. And you have to be willing to take the steps to get there. And for the gym owner, that means learning about business. And that's the part that I didn't get. That's the understanding that almost bankrupted me. I thought I could just be the best, most knowledgeable, most certified coach, and that would make me successful. And that wasn't true. You have to be better at business. One thing that you guys have brought up is like, we have now produced over 60 millionaires in Two Brain, but not one of those people got into fitness because they wanted to become wealthy. Not one, not me, not any of those on the list. What happened was this compounding effect of, I did this thing and it worked. Now I'm optimistic that I can do the next thing and I can see a slightly brighter future for myself. And then I did this one little thing and that worked. And these things just compound over time. These people who are in our program with more than $1 million in net worth are the most optimistic people in the industry. And they're also the most giving. They are the people who will fly themselves to your gym to help you save it. Like, I'm not kidding. They will do that, and this is a massive transformation from what we used to see in the industry. Matt mentioned Grant Cardone, but like inside CrossFit, it was John Birch, and it was like, raise your rates, make more money, make more profit. And it just didn't work for me. Like, if that's what I had to do to be successful, this was the wrong industry for me. And I think what I've seen from working with these thousands of gyms is like, if you can teach them to be successful while living in their core values, getting people fit, charging what they're worth, but not more, not tricking people, not being slimy, they're going to change the industry. And these other guys aren't.
Yeah. And another thing I would like to just kind of add to that, Chris, is like, when it comes to the pricing thing, a lot of people go, oh, I want to be reasonable. And I don't, I want to have a good price and make it accessible to everybody else. And I constantly think about like their inability, for lack of better terms here, to think about the future. So they might be talking about that for the customers that are coming in currently. And I look at either the size of their gym or the size of their operation. I go, okay, you have one person working for you. So what happens if both of you guys want to go on vacation? You're just never going to take a vacation. If you charge a little bit more, maybe you could hire another coach. And then if you hire another coach, maybe you could add more value to your business. A lot of people have this really narrow scope of time in which they plan for. And I might be on the opposite end of the spectrum, almost too much, where I think way too far out, right? And so going with the price increase, it isn't necessarily just about charging people more to make more profit. It's also charging people more so that way you can continue to grow and help more people. You don't want to have this house of cards that your business is built on, because then all of a sudden you are just finding yourself having to work 100% of the time. Great at the start, super enthusiastic. 10 years later, the monotony of that will run you out of business. So a lot of the times too, when people think about raising their prices, don't just think because I want more money and that's bad or evil. Think like, if I have more money, I could pay my coaches a higher rate. I could hire more coaches. I could give them maybe some benefits. Maybe I could take us all to an offsite and have dinner all together at a fancy restaurant to show them, hey, look, we all enjoy each other, right? Check this out. And so it's like just this really narrow scope of thinking in terms of like, well, I just don't want to charge people more because I'm not money hungry. It's like, yeah, and you're also not thinking about your people that are going to be working for you now and in the future. And on top of that, being able to charge more allows you to do more for your members of your business as well, too. So I just kind of wanted to add that in here because I knew Taylor Self is watching.
Well, I think a lot of times people are just hiding too. They tell themselves these stories about being fair and being affordable, and they're actually just hiding from their own responsibility to be successful. It's really, really easy to let yourself do that. And that's just part of growing as a leader. You have to be able to ask yourself, like, am I willing to, fight through my own internal bullshit to actually help the people who are depending on me? And, I've done that with clients. There was a client who came in, he was having his leg amputated because, diabetes. And when he's sitting there with his wife and she's handing him a Diet Coke, and I had to say, like, am I really willing to tell this person the truth? It's going to be uncomfortable for all of us. And I've had to do that with staff. Like, am I willing to tell this person how they're actually performing? Because that might save their career. I've had to do that with clients. Like, am I, all the way down. And now with gym owners, am I willing to say to this person, like, you might be the problem here, even if they fire me, because they're not ready to hear that yet. And, at some point as a leader, you have to evolve to that point where You're willing to do the hard things because that's what's required to take care of the people who are following you.
Oh, wow. That was an interesting line you said. Avoid the responsibility of being successful.
Yeah.
That's the discomfort of the straight talk.
Well, I had the advantage of a wife and baby at home who needed me to be successful. And so whenever I was faced with like, gee, I really don't want to reach out to this business and talk about a partnership, I could find 50 other things to keep me busy and procrastinate and like forget about it. On the other hand, my daughter likes to eat, and I've just got to do it. And that forced me through doing a lot of hard things. The most dangerous business owners that we meet are not the ones who are struggling to pay their bills. They're scared, but they're also willing to make change. The most dangerous gym owners we meet are the ones who don't need the money. My wife makes a great living. I don't have to take any money from this gym. Okay. My other business already pays me. I have a day job. This gym doesn't have to be successful. Like, these are the people who get wiped out when the landlord shows up and says, you owe me $12,000, because there's no buffer, because there's no need. We are lucky when we're struggling gym owners. We're lucky when we have a family that needs grocery monies. We're lucky when there's a lot of need in our life, because it forces us to punch through our own bullshit and do the things that we have to do as leaders.
And by the way, that, and I'm paraphrasing what I've learned from Chris over the years, but Chris had a gym, and then a failed gym, and then a successful gym, and then a successful mentorship program, which then caused his gym to slide back. And you spoke about that, being guilty on this show, being like, oh, it's not a big deal if my other business is subsidizing my gym. And then I think I had you on the show one day, and you're like, yeah, I can't do that. My gym has to you had to go back to square one and even talk to yourself. You were guilty of that thing. Hey, the gym doesn't have to be perfect because this business can hold it above water. And then you're like, hey, I need to unfuck that.
This is really common in the business coaching world, and not just in the fitness niche, but it does happen. Is the person starts working with other people, right? Like other hair salons, other contractors, and suddenly their own business goes in the toilet, and they're like, that's okay, I can prop it up. I'm making enough money. And they construct this kind of house of cards. I never, ever wanted to do that. And so, like, while my gym is not the best in Two Brain, there's a Two Brain gym a block from me, Ryan right down the street. He's doing Two Brain better than my gym is. His gym is more successful than my gym. I'm not kidding. Yeah. But my gym is doing it pretty well. And like, my gym is great, and I love my gym. I would never want my gym to just like ride the coattails of Two Brain to be successful.
What were we talking about just prior to this?
Leadership and hope.
I had another great story that I remembered you telling. Oh, some advice you gave me once. So I came to you with my hand out. Hey, I want to do this. Do you want to pay for this? And we talked. And then afterwards, right as we got off the phone, you said, hey, Sevon. And I said, yes, Mr. Cooper. And you said, don't ever not come to me with a proposition, because I can say no.
Yeah.
That was like huge for me, because you were just describing someone who's like I do that. Like, sometimes I literally do that. There's a bunch of people who are helping with this podcast, and sometimes that's at the end of the day. Like, I tell myself when I go to bed at night, like, hey, I have to go out and find this money because of the responsibility I have for these other people. Like, and then finally, like, I'll call you and be like, hey, can we do this? And the other day I asked someone for some money for a project, and they said yes. And then a couple days before the project went, I said, okay, hey, we're going to launch. And they said, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't get my shit together. We're not going to do it. And they apologized to me. And I said, hey, dude, I don't care as long as I have access to you. Like, I kind of flipped the script on what you said, but it's the same thing. As long as you're okay with me coming to you with my hand out, that's all I could ask for.
Yeah.
And that was a huge lesson for me when you said that. Like, hey, I can say no. Don't ever like not come to me, because for me, they're opportunities, and I want opportunities. So if we had some sort of project and we came to you, you would be like, yes or no. And I really appreciated that. It was, it was just kind of at the very end of our call. And that was huge for me. And as a leader for other people who are have in a place to sponsor shit, that's a good thing to share with someone. Instead of being like, hey, this guy's bugging me again, flip the script on and be like, no, I'm glad I have these opportunities.
Yeah. I think like a lot of us, we don't like asking people for help. I was raised to never, ever, ever ask for help. Don't ask for $1. And it's because we think that we're imposing on the other person. And so sometimes, like as a leader, the best gift that you can give to somebody is to tell them, like, if I don't want to do it, I'll say no, and we'll still be friends. And like now, I don't know, I guess they feel they have permission to ask again. And I've had to share that with a lot of people. Sebi, like we sponsor a cycling team for local youth. And like, I was riding with their coach a couple weekends ago and he's like, yeah, we're out of budget. Like, who else should I turn to for more money? And I was like, why wouldn't you just ask me for more money? And he's like, well, you already gave us X for the season and we need more. It turns out we just underestimated the budget. And I'm like, you keep asking and eventually I'm going to say no, but when I say no, we're still going to be friends and I'm not going to get mad. Like, how about that? And,
hey, that's smart too. That's just smart on your part too, because why would you shut down opportunities? Like there's no value to being like, hey, this fucking guy keeps asking me for money. It's just like, no. Yeah. No. Yes or no?
And my biggest fear is that you'll stop asking.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That was huge for me.
Well, I'm glad. I think that we all have responsibility here, right? Like, I hate to say this to gym owners who are out there, but like, we're at a turning point in our culture right now where we have the easiest life in history and we're all getting sick, fat, and sad. And the government is not going to save us. The CDC is not going to save us. The healthcare system is not going to save us. Taxes are not going to go down.
They profit off of it.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. So who's there to turn the tide? Like, who is standing in the way of this onslaught? It's only us. It's only the coaches. Like, the government will patch you up and send you, or the healthcare system can patch you up and send you back into the game, but you're not going to win it without coaching. And we have a responsibility not just to give people the advice and knowledge to change their life. They can find that anywhere. Our responsibility is to be successful enough that people look to us and say that what that guy is saying must be true. He's been doing this for 20 years. He looks pretty successful. There must be a reason, right? It's to model success and also to be around for 20, 30 years. When I decide to retire from the gym business, my gym isn't going to close. It's going to go to somebody else who's going to continue the mission in my community, which really needs it. And you can't do that with a failing gym. So it's not just a responsibility to be successful, to feed your kids. That's what it started as for me. Now it's a responsibility to still be here next time the government decides to close down small businesses, or the next time there's a new GLP-1, antagonistic drug or whatever. Next time there's a Biggest Loser TV show and everybody thinks that's what I need to do. I need to still be here to tell them the truth. By the way, Sevi, I got this amazing picture of, remember when Bob was doing CrossFit at the end of the Biggest Loser show, Bob Harper?
Yeah.
And he came to the games?
Yeah.
Somewhere on my Facebook profile, there's this picture of Bob Harper standing with, I think it was Tyson, at the games. And the caption was like, here's this man that's influenced millions of people to fix their diet, start working out and losing weight. And standing with him is Bob Harper. And it's like,
are you talking about Tyson or Bob?
I'm talking about Tyson. Yeah. Because it's like a lot of people wouldn't have even known about Tyson. He was part of the CrossFit engine, the media team that was actually out there changing these lives. Right. And it's not Jillian Michaels and it's not what diet Taylor Swift is on that counts. It's like, are you still going to be here 3 years from now when I need you?
I have no problem saying that I think the most influential woman in the history of the fitness space is Nicole Carroll. And you might not even know her name, but what the bomb and that was Nasty Girls ripples to this day. I mean, it's like holy, it was the most potent fertilizer ever. And then she, and of course, she continued it by curating and taking care of and nurturing the greatest cadre of trainers the planet's ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, Nicole, she has duplicated herself 20,000, 200,000 times. And I mean, for people who don't see what goes on behind the scenes at like a level 1, it's not just that you've got these bright, shiny, happy people showing up and repeating this script. Every single performance to this day gets reviewed with the Flow Master at the end of that seminar to make it better. And that has happened 30,000 times, right? And that's Nicole. Like, that's her influence on the industry. People look at CrossFit and they're like, yeah, Greg changed the fitness industry. You can't go into a gym without seeing bumper plates now. Nicole Carroll changed the fitness industry. And it's because you cannot be coached in this industry without seeing Nicole's influence.
100%. Going back to people giving you money, by the way, and I thought I suspected this was going on, and then because of Pedro White's and Matt Souza's now embarking and representing businesses and athletes in sponsorship deals, they offer services for both sides of the fence. One of the things that when we started taking on sponsors that Susan and I tripped on is we wanted to make sure we wanted our sponsors to walk away being like, oh my God, we took advantage of them. Yeah. Like, that was our mindset. Like, we wanted them to be like, holy shit, we got, like, I can't believe we only had to pay them that much. Unfortunately, I think so many people in the space don't think like that. And the culture of taking money from people for sponsorship, I think, is really ass backwards. I don't think I think these brands are wooed by certain, I don't know what you call them. I guess maybe
Instagram followers.
Influencers, followers. But and I don't sense that the people who are taking the money feel that responsibility. Like, I always feel this crazy burden of taking money from people, crazy burden.
Yeah.
And, but I think it's healthy. I'm glad I feel it.
Yeah, I think that is true. You can definitely drive yourself crazy, worried about like measuring ROI, and then you can get really stressed when people don't understand the ROI. So for example, we generally have the same people at Two Brain Summit as sponsors every year. It's the same 30 booths, but over the last decade, there have been people who came to the summit, they bought a booth, and they're like, I didn't get a good ROI. And honestly, all you can do is like create the best possible opportunity for them to present themselves to your audience. And if they don't take advantage of that, like, those are the two brains of business, right? Like, I can tell you exactly what to do. I can text you every single day. I can give you the tools, fill this in, answer this question, do this. I can interview you on camera and you put it on YouTube. But if you don't do the work, like, you're not going to be successful. And I think that's where a lot of gym owners get hung up too. They think like, well, I can't charge $250 a month because the client won't show up often enough to get the results. Well, value has two sides.
Yeah. And this sponsor here, Suji, insane product with just the worst marketing ever. Sure. And I've sent them emails, and Souza sent them emails, and we're like, and then Hillary even made a commercial for him. It's like, this is an insane product, but your commercial says nothing about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to be like, holy shit. And we've told them like, hey, and if you're a sponsor for this show and you're like, you give us X amount of dollars and we say, we're going to run your commercial 5 times, we're actually going to run it 20 times.
Oh, well, now you way to go.
Yeah. Okay.
But CrossFit affiliates have the same problem, right? They know that they've got the product. They know they've got the method. They've got the solution. They're suck at marketing, and somehow marketing has become this bad word, but marketing is how you coach people to come and do your thing. Like, why does Row House, why does Metabolic, why do these other people, why are they making more money when their product is narrower than CrossFit? Well, because they're good at marketing, and that's not bad. Yeah, in theory. Like, why are they?
It's inferior.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not saying they have a better product. I have no idea if they do or not.
I'm just telling you they don't.
They're really good at explaining what their product is, right? And I think a lot of CrossFit gyms are not, good at explaining the product. I'll give you an example. Forging Elite Fitness. we were not good at explaining that like every human being should pursue elite fitness because that is the buffer between sickness and health. Is your fitness, and like you need to pursue the highest level of fitness you possibly can reach for you. Instead, what that became was like elite people pursuing fitness, and these are the CrossFit Games. I don't think that we ever did a great job of explaining like, here's why you need to pursue fitness, and you're never going to be these people, but you should try to become as close to them as you possibly can. And, you know, Greg gave us the language. He said, like, these people are at the top of Everest, but we're all mountain climbers. And we just needed to repeat that 1,000 more times before people got it. And like, that's, you know, Forging Elite Fitness should have stood as like the slogan, but then the explanation is like for everybody and why everybody should want elite fitness.
Yes.
Sousa, how are you on time? Do you have to go? I think you have coach. You had a coach calling sick or something?
No, I'm okay. I actually extended it out a little bit, so I'm cool. We're good. Okay. I got like another 20 minutes or so.
My bad.
Chris.
No, not
on you. I was gonna let him go. Chris, how proud is your wife of you? I know the story is that she was the breadwinner. She let you open the gym, and then do you ever reflect back? And then she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay home with the kid," and it's like, "Here you go. Here's the checkbook. Go do it, Chris." Do you ever reflect on that or talk to her about that? And she's like, "Holy shit, good job, buddy," because that's important in picking a mate. I don't want to make picking a mate superficial, but it's important characteristic trait to see in someone.
There was a very special moment for me this summer when we were at our cottage, which is, you know, it's nothing crazy. There's mansions on both sides of us, and we've got this little piece of beach on an island where I grew up, and this kind of like outdated cottage. And you know, we're sitting on the deck with some of her nieces and nephews who are older, and their little kids are playing volleyball and they're swimming and they're paddleboarding and stuff. And she turned to me and said, "This is the kind of rich I want to be." And to me, that was like, mission accomplished. We're done.
Yeah,
you know,
God, that must have felt good.
Yeah.
You bought the cheapest house in the most expensive neighborhood.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man.
That's it.
Yeah, that's so practical. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. And like, that's it, right? Like, you know, my truck's like a 10-year-old truck, and you know, but I get to ride my bike for 3 hours a day. Like, that's the kind of rich I want to be. And when I'm helping gym owners, I love hearing their stories of like, oh, I was able to sponsor this kid. Oh, I'm taking my kid to school. I get a week off. Like, that's the kind of rich that they want to be. It's not about, I've got this crazy, you know, Porsche now. That's not it. Like, when we celebrate them becoming millionaires, it's because they have the wealth to choose the kind of life that they want. And guess what they pick? Open more gyms, right? It's like 90% of our gym owners, we send them this plaque and it's like, "You're officially a millionaire. Congratulations. We're so proud of you." And they're like, "This feels great. And now I'm going to coach the noon group." Like, they still choose to run their gym. None of these guys, by the way, choose to get out of the gym business and do something different. They double down. I'm going to open a third location now. You know, and it's not the pursuit of money. Money is the enabler that allows them to pursue more fitness coaching and changing more lives.
There's no better feeling than knowing that if your car breaks down, it's no big deal to fix it.
Yep.
You would always rather have a 10-year-old truck that you can pay to put a new engine in, if that worst case scenario, than have a brand new truck and be like, "Okay, I'm only going to put in a half tank of gas." I mean, that shit is insane.
I've been there. Yeah. You've been there.
Yeah. High school shit. Like, remember that? You're like scraping all the change so you can put in $4 in gas so you can go to a girl's house.
Bag of quarters.
Borrowing money from her dad. Yeah. "Do you really want my truck to break down on the way home?"
Oh boy.
Yeah.
One quick question, Chris. I had texted you a while back, asked you this, and now I need some more ammo here. What are you currently reading?
Oh, so much. Oh my God. So I'm reading a lot of cycling
Me
books
too.
right.
Me too. So much. Ask me after.
So look on my Audible right now. I'm reading a bunch of cycling books just because I love it. I've always got fiction going on too, but
What's a
Courage is
cycling book?
Calling, I think. I just read Reset by Dan Heath, which was absolutely an incredible book. The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. I read that every single year. Yes, sir.
I was like, and I was going to ask you too, not to, when do you think, if at all, when is this book appropriate for gym owners? Or
if you're in trouble and you're like, oh my God, I got to make another $5,000 to pay the rent September 1st, like that now is not the time.
Right.
But if your gym has been coasting for over a year, you need to read that book. Like it's because business is really, it's not about like having the next best idea or jumping on the next trend first. It's about not doing stupid things. It's the stupid things that'll kill you, that almost killed me. Like I had made a lot of stupid compounding mistakes and, barely gutted it out to get through it. So yeah, I mean, Keith Cunningham's book is fantastic. An entrepreneur who owns a bike store just came for coffee this morning, and I gave him a copy of a book called Cadence that I really like. It's like The Simple Six, but it's in a story. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin was massive for me. Changemaker by John Berardi, just absolutely fantastic in the fitness industry. Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. Yeah, I mean, then I've got a bunch of stuff from Eddie Vedder and Steve Earle and Tom Morello about speaking truth to power. That's just because of Canada.
Yeah. Because of what? Canada?
Canada, yeah.
Hey, what is this thing you said in the Wodify podcast? You said something about the power of 10. What is that?
That's our theme for next year's summit. And it's basically like, we all have this misconception when we open a gym that it's how fast can I get to 100? How fast can I get to 200 members? And so we tend to look at the group as a whole instead of each individual person. And instead of saying that, we should say, like, if I had to do this with 10 members and I had to keep those people for the rest of my life, who are those 10 people? And then you'd want to say, like, okay, well, who are the 10 people most closely associated with my 10 clients? Because if I don't change their lives, then really I'm not going to change my client's life. If they come and see me for an hour a day, 10 hours a week, even, like, they're still with their family every other hour. And if those family are just eating cheesies and watching Netflix, I'm not going to change them. Right. And so the power of 10 is really about, like, once you learn how to go from one person to 10 people, from one good habit to 10 good habits, that's how you actually change your business. It's going in the power of 10, not going in the power of 100 or 1,000. It's taking small jumps. It's looking at, like, who are your 10 closest connections? Who are their 10 closest connections? It's repeating the same 10 basic things in your business over and over instead of constantly seeking the one new thing. It's repeating the same basic 10 exercises in new and exciting ways instead of, like, finding the new core burner workout. That's what it's really all about. It's like, what are the 10 most important things in life? And just getting better and better and better at them instead of always chasing the novel, the new, the distractions.
So what that looks like, you have a client for like 6 months and she's lost 20 pounds. And then you're like, hey man, what's your husband think about this? I mean, you've completely transformed. What's your husband think? And she's like, oh, he loves it or whatever. And you're like, man, you should really bring him in here. I'd like to meet him. And
that's how you grow a gym. Yeah.
And then,
like,
hey, what are your parents doing? Are they in the area? Why don't you ever bring them in here for the free Sunday classes? I'd love to meet your parents. Shit like that.
Yeah. Why, your kids, I mean, what we got to remember is that, like, we lift a person's fitness up a little bit when the hour that they're with us, but they don't just stay level until the next time they see us. The next 23 hours are them sliding backward. And it's like what they're up against is not the price of your service. What they're up against is they go home and their kids are like, I'm not eating all those vegetables. So now they're making 2 dinners. And they're up against, like, well, I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. to take the dog out. If you want to go to the morning class, you got to get up earlier and take the dog out. And they're up against, like, well, if you don't do the laundry, I'm not going to have any clean clothes. Like, that's what they're up against. And if we really want to change their lives, the best thing that we can do is to change the life of their spouse, and then the lives of their coworker, and the lives of their neighbors, because like our clients will always be the average of the 5 people that they hang around with. And either we give them 5 better people to hang around with, or we make the 5 people they hang around with better. And if you really want to grow your gym, like that's the best way to do it. What Savon just said.
Damn, that thing that you said about the 5 people there is great, because I've heard the reverse of that. You're the 5 people that you hang around with the most, right? Or the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most. So you either change those people or bring them into, or change the people around you. But that piece there about bringing them into to change them, that's good. I like that a lot.
And a coach can just say that. A coach can just say that to their class, like, "Hey, we work on your nutrition, we work on your fitness. Listen up, people. If you don't bring the 5 people that you're closest with into my class so I can work on them too, we're not going to be working together. Bring those in."
Yeah, the 5 closest offer.
You'll be 5. You'll be fighting the rest of your life if you got to go home and face resistance from your spouse. Like Sevi, imagine your wife was like, "You got to stop working out so much. You got to stop doing this stupid podcast. You got to go do blah blah. You know, we're not eating like that. That sucks. That's extra work for me." How long are you going to stick with this? Like it's impossible.
And by the way, the flip side of that is if you're a good spouse, every time your wife or your husband says, "Hey, I'm going to work out," you say, "No problem. I love it. I got this." I have never, maybe like once, maybe like when maybe if I had some crazy special guest and I couldn't move the time, I've never once not moved everything around. If my wife's going to a class, and my wife goes to a class 5 days a week, normally I don't have to move shit around, but I would never say no. Like,
well, she's 5 times fitter than you are though too. So
she is, but that's crazy to stop your spouse from working out.
But that's what happens.
Yeah, it's bad. It's batshit crazy. Also part of this summit that's happening in 2026 in Chicago again.
Yeah, we're at the Hyatt this year, so bigger venue, nicer venue, I think, and we'll have 1,500 gym owners and coaches there instead of 1,000. We sold out the last 2 years.
Holy crap!
Wow. And breaking news: Chicago will soon be one of the safest cities in the United States.
He can't help himself, Chris. He can't help himself.
So excited for Chicago. I
kind of don't get that joke, but I'm also too mature to ask what he means by that.
Basically, I don't mean to drag you into this.
Go ahead.
You get to drag me into this.
Basically, DC, our nation's capital is one of the most dangerous cities in the world, and our president deployed the National Guard there, and the mayor was absolutely furious. And now 3 weeks have passed, and carjackings are down 87%. There hasn't been a murder in 20 days. And the mayor said yesterday, "Well, holy shit, this is working." And our president of the United States said, "Hey, Chicago, you're next." And it's pretty fucking cool.
I was in DC for CrossFit for Hope, and I'm going to say this was 2015, and Elizabeth Akinwale was kind of like the big star that was going to be working out with us on the mall. And there were dozens of people.
Someone stole her. Someone kidnapped her.
We haven't seen her since. No, but even at that time, I can remember thinking like there's a lot of armed guards and police kind of everywhere here. But anyway, I was talking about that with Josh Murphy, the head of the CrossFit Foundation, yesterday about like, hey, last time I was in DC, we were all there because of CrossFit, and we were raising money for CrossFit for Hope, and we all did like Fight Gone Bad on the mall.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I've ever been in DC.
I'm excited.
And I didn't get mugged.
Good. Ryan McFadden, as our 2 Brain mentor, helped out tremendously, opened up 5 weeks ago, and have 75 CrossFit members and conditioning kids. Wow. I love the kids.
Congrats. That's
appreciate
so awesome.
You all at 2 Brain.
That's really cool.
Ryan is a rock star on our team of over 50 mentors worldwide, all successful gym owners. Ryan at one time owned 2 gyms. Famously, he owned CrossFit Mousetrap down just outside Disney. Now he's got this super duper successful gym, and he's just such a great role model. The amazing thing about working on your leadership is quite often you get to work with people who are better leaders than you are. And if you're not scared to work with powerful people, you hire them and they pull you up too. And that's the case with Ryan.
Chris, when is the summit? Sorry.
First, it's the weekend before Father's Day. So I think probably about June 7th next year.
Okay, June 7th. I'm coming to that. The last 2 years I wasn't able to go. And so I'm saying it now with Sebon and all our people on here, because usually some sort of semifinal, regional, in-person qualifier, whatever the hell it's going to be. And I'm over there having to press buttons and switch and learn jobs on the queue. But I really want to attend that. So we're going to mark the calendar here now, and I'll see you out in October. Or
that's great.
1,501 people.
In June. Yeah. 1,501. I'm going to bring Sebon with me too. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to come with me.
Can I share such a funny joke from this year's summit? Please. So Harry Singh, who owns CrossFit NYC, was there. You guys know Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Harry is, I just love him. He's so funny and he's so smart. Oh my goodness. So CrossFit HQ was coming, and a few, we're going to be there. And unfortunately, they couldn't make it. But all weekend long, Harry kept saying, like, where are they? I want to talk to them. And send them to meet me, okay? Yeah, okay, Harry, you got it. So finally, now Harry's got to be 60 years old, right? He's got these thick black glasses, and he comes up to me at 2:00 Sunday afternoon. He's like, don't tell me they're not coming. And I'm like, no, something came up. They couldn't make it. He's like, Chris, they're just not into you. And
I don't love you anymore, Chris.
Exactly, yeah. And I died. Anyway, that was one of my highlights from the summer. Thanks, Harry, if you're watching, man.
Oh, that's hilarious.
They're just not that into you. You're right.
There was so I like the power of 10. Then there was something else you said that really caught me off guard. You said one of the themes is faith.
Yeah.
And that didn't seem I couldn't make that comport. I was like, wait, where does that fit in? What is that? What is faith?
Well, this year I talked about two things that you have to succeed as a gym owner, because I think that, most of our media is about, like, you got to make money, right? Like, people need to hear that. But the reality is that when people go out of business, when they lose hope, there's always another way to make money, right? Like, you can ask your mom for a credit card, and you can ask your girlfriend's dad to pay for the gas in your car. There's always another way to make money. But when you lose hope, when you can't see, like, I'm ever going to get there, or I don't know what the next step is, that's when you quit. Faith is ultimately the belief that, like, things are going to work out for me, but it's more than optimism. It's looking for proof, right? It's seeking out confirmation that what you're doing is right, and you're eventually going to get there. But the difference is that hope comes from within you, and faith comes from the people you surround yourself with. And when I'm looking around at the Two Brain Summit, I get more faith in the industry than ever. Like, I see the trends in the data. I see that things are doing better. I get data from Wodify just this morning showing that gyms are growing. But what actually gives me faith in this industry is surrounding myself with 500 powerful people who are not just going to let this thing die. And it's, I talk to as many of them as I can, and we sit there together in that owner's room at the Two Brain Summit, and I see them nodding, like, let's go. And I think, like, okay, this group is unstoppable. And so while my hope comes from within, my faith comes from, that group of gym owners. And I wish I could share that with everybody.
That's interesting, because faith has been a reoccurring topic on the show for a long time, more in the religious sense, and more. But before, I used to always think that people thought of it as blind belief. But my definition is very similar to yours. And now that it's having an awareness of watching sort of the magic around you, like you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just that simple as this: you're in a hurry to go somewhere, and there's no parking, and there's traffic everywhere, and you're late, and then all of a sudden someone backs out in front of you, right? Or backs out and you get their parking spot. I mean, that's a really simplistic one, but it's just like, hey, there was no point in necessarily worrying, but it's also being aware that the universe is conspiring to make me successful, and to becoming aware of that, and getting into that flow and accepting that. And the more and more you become aware of it, the more and more it seems to happen. So I like that. It's the awareness of the people. Basically, you worded it the awareness of the people around you and their sort of the direction that they're going.
Yeah. And, to bring us back to the beginning, one of the things that almost made me quit in the beginning was I felt like I was on an island out there.
Yeah.
And, the reason that I love Summit is, I mean, I'll be frank with you guys, like we lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on Summit every year. And the reason that we keep doing it is because when I'm in that room, my faith gets reinvigorated for another year. Like
Right.
I'm out there looking for reasons to keep going. And like, that is a huge one.
Evidence you're not alone. That comports with the religious sort of definition of faith too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was out for a ride yesterday with a good friend who's a great cyclist. He likes CrossFit and he likes Jordan Peterson. And, one of the best things I think Jordan Peterson ever wrote was like, you don't have to go to church, but what are you going to replace it with? And what he was talking about is like going to church gives you this built-in system of community support and like rules for living your life and habits and routines. And you could say the exact same thing for CrossFit. Like you don't have to come to my gym, but what are you going to replace that with? Are you really going to establish your own habits that increase your longevity? Are you really going to push yourself? And are you really going to build your own system of support to fall back on the days when you don't do as well? And like, I do think that there's a strong overlap there, and that's all componentry of faith.
Hey, thank you so much. For
Thank you.
anyone, the link will be in the show notes.
Yep.
You have till
Please
September.
do it. Yeah, please do it. Please participate.
You fill it out, and then you also get a free copy of it. It takes 4.5 minutes. If you're a gym owner or a boutique gym, check it out. And thanks always, Chris, for coming on. So many people, every time they see your name, they're like, "Oh, it's my favorite guest." So thanks for doing this.
I appreciate you having me on because not everyone says he's my favorite. So thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thank you,
check your
Chris.
emails. I'll be asking for money tomorrow. Okay.
I can always say no. See ya.
All right. Love you. Bye.
See ya.
Chris Cooper, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he's so great.
So I love the nights before when we have guests like that. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so easy tomorrow.
And it's just fun. Like I always learn a lot with him on. Like I got like plenty of reading material. So after I finish the recommendation from Mr. Froning here, I'm listening to that. And as soon as I downloaded it, I was like 41 hours.
What did he recommend?
Did he say it on the podcast with you?
Maybe, I forget.
Let me just make sure I got the
He
title.
recommended a 41-hour audiobook to you.
Yeah. Team of Rivals.
What's it
Doris
about?
King, Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
He's like been into all the president stuff and things like that. I saw this comment up here. Somebody was like, and you're gonna have to back me up on this. Where is it? Oh well, I don't know if I could find it. But they were like, Sousa reads. Oh, right here. Marco, Sousa reads Alex Mosey books religiously. You know what's funny about that is, and Sevan will back me up, that is not true. If there's anybody that I do religiously and talk about all the time, it's Robert Greene. And you know that because that's 48 Laws of Power, Mastery, the Laws of Human Nature, like those books. I mean, you could literally see it right here. There's like the Daily Law one. Okay. And that literally, like, I do read that one like religiously. So it's kind of funny because it just got misconstrued because Taylor just likes to poke fun at me a lot because I was reading his Leeds book when we were together at the Sacramento house.
I've told the story, a half dozen times. When I was watching Kill Tony, which is in its 12th season with Tony Hinchcliffe, started in a small cafe 12 years ago, and now they sell out arenas. And I was watching, I was like, God, this is so stupid. This reminds me of the Gong Show when I was a kid. This is like so bad. And I just decided, okay. So then the next day I was thinking, I sat down and I was going to watch some more because one of my friends really loved the show. And I was like, okay, I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to get rid of that story. I'm going to watch Kill Tony and not tell myself, not let it make me feel uncomfortable and not say it's stupid. And within 1 minute of that, I came up with the idea for Kill Taylor. And now I'm a huge Kill Tony fan. And I was really excited. Most people are watching it for the I guess, the comedy. But what I learned from it yesterday or 2 days ago watching is they're in their 12th year, 12 years before they like hit it big of just consistency. And really the set hasn't changed a fucking iota. And nothing's changed except Tony's on TRT now. And so I know most of you are just joking about the Hormozy stuff, but don't forget that that's a story you have about him, and he sold 2 companies for $50 million each. And whatever you think about him, remember that story is your story. Like Hormozy doesn't care.
Dude, he made $100 million on his last book launch in one day.
On a book?
Yes. And he talks about it in this retrospect video when he was like, okay, if you're watching this, then we hit the goal. The reason why I called it 100 million is because I did 100 million offers, $100 million leads. He goes in $100 million money models. And
how did you make $100 million on a book?
He sells like whatever it was, 3 million of them or something in a day. I mean, it pushed him all the way up to the Harry Potter top, like above some of the Harry Potter books that have been on there for years in one day. They gave him a Guinness Book of World Records, or a Guinness, world record right there on the show while he was doing it.
And so just remember, I don't know anything about him, other than it looks like his wife has done so much steroids she turned into a man.
Definitely.
But but maybe if I was single and she was single and we were naked on an island, I would drop that story. What I'm saying is just remember the stories you're telling yourself,
right?
And try to tell yourself stories that add value to your life. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So here's a great example. Sousa believes him. Oh no, it doesn't matter. What would believing him or not believing him matter? Why would that matter?
Well,
yeah.
What does that matter? You know, it's funny because everybody that as they like move up, especially in sales, they get like this grifter stuff, right? And that does occur, like you see with like Grant Cardone and different things like that. Once they reach this level of success and they have this audience they influence, sometimes they move them to certain things that are definitely a little schemy and scammy. But there's not like, it's on record that he sold Gym Launch for 45 or 48 million. He sold Alan, the software company, for undisclosed amount. But I watched this other podcast called My First Million, and Sam was part of the people that purchased that and said, yes, I like can confirm. And I know the guy who bought it from him, that this is, so you have like this evidence of stuff there, right? And the other thing too is like to Sevon's point, like if you change your story about that and then you read the book and then you glean value from it and then you do the thing and make the money, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's not like I'm giving him money outside of buying the book. I'm not investing in his pyramid scheme or something or buying his NFT. I'm buying the book. I'm consuming the information and I'm applying it. That's all it is.
Don't let I'll give you a perfect example. Some people believe in the metric of respect and disrespect. And so if someone doesn't respect them, they get really upset. And I never played that game of respect. For the most part, I don't care if anyone respects me or disrespects me. And while I worked at CrossFit for all those years, I saw a lot of people who didn't get the respect they wanted, and they failed because of that, because they were demanding respect when there's no value. There was no value to getting respect or disrespect. That's like just all your ego. And I launched way past them and was able to get way more than they were. And so while some people might be watching Kill Tony, they might think, like I thought, oh man, this is just uncomfortable. I don't think the jokes are funny. I got rid of all of that and I watched it again. And now I see the show totally different. I'm like, oh, cool. They have red mics for the guests. They have a gold mic for Tony. Oh, I like their setup. Oh, this is really cool. The 1 minute format, even if I don't like it, now I'm noticing that a new guest comes up in 1 minute. Like, just remember, everything you're thinking and judging puts a veil between you and what you're seeing. It's like you're looking at the world through a window, and every story you tell is smudging something on the window. It's like you're just closing opportunities for yourself. And so if you're looking at Hormozy as like, hey, I just see him as a charlatan, maybe you're just going to see he's a charlatan. If you're going to see him as an author for a book, then you could be like, okay, you might glean some ideas of what inspired him. Like for me, the takeaway from Chris is none of the business stuff. None for me. For me, it's the life story. It's the things like, wow, he put in 4 years every day writing on a blog with no intention to make a book. and you got a best-selling book out of it. Like, I'm totally listening to Chris in a totally different way. Like, I care what his wife thinks about him and how his relationship changed. Like, those are, I like the, just remember, when I read Moth in the Iron Lung about the polio vaccine, all I was doing was learning about COVID. When I think about the level 1, all I think about is how to raise kids. It has nothing to do with fitness for me.
Mm.
So just remember, you're in control of that. You're in control of what you glean from things.
Yeah. Can I shamelessly plug 2 things I'm doing real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so number one, I've reached my record. The show I did last night, I did it just on like an audit of my website and just talked about different things that I changed. Right, here's a little screen share of it. So I just go through and explain everything, why and what I did with the site. It's just related really closely to like churches and stuff. But I never thought that this show would make past 1,000 views. It broke 1,000 views already. So I'm super stoked about that. So if you guys have a gym website or just anything, like this is a Wodify site. I customized it a bunch, and Wodify was awesome with helping me do all this, including these header videos and all this other stuff. So you could go and check that out if you're interested in the stuff with the website. And then if you are in, if you are in the area close by in the Bay Area on the 6th, I'm going to be doing with the coaches down at CFL. It's opened up to anybody. If you're a coach or if you're want to be a coach soon, aspiring to be a coach, you could come down. It's going to be 90 minutes. And essentially what it's going to be is like this September 6th. September 6th. Yeah, I'll probably be doing it around 8:30 in the morning. It's only going to be open to a small group of people outside of my coaches that'll be there. But essentially what we're going to be doing, and I'm going to try to do this quarterly, is just a coach's development thing. It's not going to cost you anything. It's completely free other than your time down there. And it'll be elements of kind of like the level 2. So if you've ever taken that, you'll get some hands-on like practice time to coach, but we'll also talk about classroom experience and stuff. And I want it to be this melting pot also of like ideas. So the idea behind it is we all come in, we spend 90 minutes kind of going over a couple chunks of like coaching classes or classroom experience. And then we just spend some time practicing it, developing ourselves. And that's pretty much it. So if you're in the area, it's free.
Saturday, September 6th, not tomorrow, but the following Saturday.
Yeah.
By the way, great space and great town. Sousa's gym's in a really cool spot. Nice neighborhoods, nice shopping, nice food, huge gym, shitloads of parking, great acoustics, fantastic spot, tons of equipment.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So if you guys want to come down, I will have like a link to it. I'll most likely just post it on my social media. So just look out for that. The spots are going to be really limited because I'm not changing classes. And in fact, we're actually going to use my class in real time on Saturday as kind of like looking at that and auditing as we're doing it as well too. So really kind of putting ourselves out there. But if you are interested, I think there'll be like maybe 10 spots available. So just keep a lookout for it. There'll be a link. I'll just have you sign up through it, like through Wodify, like as if you're just taking a class, but it'll be the coach's development class. So yeah, if you guys want to come down and you're interested in that, please feel free. Shoot me a DM too if you're like, no, you already want to be a part of it. And I'll just sign you up once we get the link going and things like that next week.
Did event 1 of the event 1 of that World Fitness Project thing is over?
The what?
The Big W.
I don't even know what that is.
Watch this. Oh, okay.
I don't.
I'm watching it because I want to watch Colton. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. Okay, so listen, guys. Tonight, if we can get Colton on, Taylor and Bryson and I will have Colton on and be making fun of him. I mean, loving on him. So that should be. I don't know when their last event is. But there's 2 events today, 2 events Saturday, 2 events Sunday. Hopefully every night we'll be able to get Colton on. That's the goal. And chop it up with him and just love on Colton, support Colton.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else?
No, that was it. That was fun. Thanks for letting me jump on with you.
Tomorrow's Kill Taylor. The workout, if it's not up, will be up very, very soon. Taylor wants to start putting the workout up 24 hours early.
Crazy.
Hey, so you can't you can only watch this world. Can anyone help me? Can you only watch this World Fitness Project on a computer? You can't watch this. There's no app or you can't watch this on a TV. You can't watch this with a smart TV or Apple TV or.
I wasn't even kidding when I was like, I have no idea. Like sorry, this isn't just like, I just could care less about that.
But you got to care about the Colton dog.
I care about Colton tremendously. So I'll listen to whatever he says about it. But, it's just on the website. You got to go to their website.
Oh, you can AirPlay it. Yeah, that sucks because I like to look at my phone. I guess I can AirPlay it from my computer to my TV. No app, no YouTube. Have to watch live on their site.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Bold move.
We're going to be switching to Rumble soon and getting off of YouTube just to help viewership.
We're gonna be on Kick from now on. Just
hey, how do they explain that to their sponsors?
What sponsors? The people that give them the free stuff.
I just don't know how you. I mean, even power slaps on YouTube.
Why would you not put it on the biggest viewing platform in the world?
Yeah, Rumble sucks. I know. The interface is so bad.
Yeah.
You ever do that thing on Rumble where you go there, you're watching a video, and you try to fast forward it, but because of they're so trying to feed you ads, and then you end up at the beginning again, and you're like, holy shit! Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, that's bad.
It's horrible. You spend 5 minutes trying to get to the spot you want to, and then it just takes you back to the beginning. You're like, oh god, I should have just watched it at 2x speed.
Yikes.
Yeah, I avoid that. That site actually pushes you away from it. Okay, so it looks like the boys and the girls didn't go at the same time. It looks like just the boys went. All right.
Okay.
Oh, you can't. Okay, you can't pause it.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Later, Souza. Wow, guys, you can't pause this stream. There's no pause button on the screen. This is crazy. Where's the pause on this? How do you? There's the volume. Am I retarded? Where's the pause? Like, where's the button you push? There's no pausing, no rewinding. I could rewind it. I just couldn't pause it. Well, I mean, you could like grab the screen and scroll back. All right. I guess I can do that. Is there a is there a 2x playback speed? No. Audio track in different languages. Okay, I guess so they put a premium on languages. I wonder what let me see if I put it in Spanish. Let me see. Oh, wow. Check this out.
Vivian Murray. Cristiano también. Terminando. Y las mujeres arrivent très vite.
French. Oh, let's go to this. What is this? Rat. What is this? What language is it?
كندريك مارتيل يغني عيد ميلاد سعيد
Armenian.
للبارحة 29 عيد ميلاد سعيد لقد قالت أن هذا لن يكون حدثها المثالي في هذا السباق.
하지만 여기 숙녀분은 정말 짐을 쌌어요.
Oh boy. Let's see. Hitler.
달리아 리베리카가 마무리하고 있습니다. 이사 중국.
Let's do Hitler.
Der Umzug mit Chinesen ein.
Oh, that's crazy. When you can still hear the English.
Ich habe am Anfang gesagt, dass ich das Tempo vom Anfang beibehalten soll. Und jetzt versucht er es.
Wow. All right. I think I get copyright. I think I get like a 7-second. I don't know. Wow. Oh, so that sucks. I guess you have to. since I can't pause it, I have to close the window in order to not hear it. Just lower the volume. Thanks, Sonny Jesus. We have other languages, even though the vast majority of the athletes speak English as their first language. I guess it's for the viewers. That's even though it's for the athletes, by the athletes, I guess it's for the viewers. They've left their charter. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. Kill Taylor tomorrow. Monday, Tyson's playing against the Vikings. Oh, maybe I shall text Tyson and see if he can get on. All right. Talk to you guys later. Good day. Bye-bye.